the system for contractors in the United States, at least, is set up for them to fail.
Welcome to UpTech Report. I'm your host, Alexander Ferguson. This is our Founder's Journey series. UpTech Report is sponsored by TerraLeap. Learn how to leverage the power of customer stories at TerraLeap.io. Today, I'm excited to be joined by my guest, Andre Kazimierski, who's based in Chicago, Illinois. He's the founder and CEO at Improovy. Welcome, Andre. Good to have you on.
Hey, glad to be here.
Now, Improovy is a platform that streamlines how homeowners find, hire, and work with painting contractors, or that's the beginning of where you're headed. I'm excited to dive into this, but also it's hearing your journey and like why you built this. Let's start with just the product itself, and then we'll hear more about your journey and the purpose behind it. But in a nutshell, very short, like 20, 30 seconds, what is Improovy? What problem is it solving?
Yeah, so Improovy is a managed marketplace, like you had mentioned, that connects painters and homeowners looking for painters themselves. And what we do is basically, rather than just connect, we price out the job, we match it with the perfect contractor, and we see this as a solution, almost like a one-click solution, the same way you'd order an Uber for every way to upgrade your space. We're starting with the painting side of things because it's what I know most as a contractor, and being 15 years in the space, I've seen the pain on both ends. So we're solving that for contractors and enabling them to do the best work of their careers. So
I love it. So it's the Uber for home improvement, and starting with painting, that just making it seamless to get that done. So the reason for doing this, because you said 15 years you were a contractor, you were actually in there in the service business providing this, you sold your painting company, but let's go back. Like where did this all begin?
Yeah. So, I mean, growing up, my mom came here as a Polish immigrant, Chicago, she started a cleaning company, of course, being Polish. And I saw her struggle as you know, I'd help her I built her first website when I was 8 years old. And I just saw a lot of the things that a small business owner, especially first generation immigrants that come to the US, just struggle and try to make money. And she was averaging under the minimum wage in the US per year after I guess, kind of broke things down from there. So I always felt like there was a better way to do this, both from a home services standpoint, but to make the lives of the small business owner better. So that's where the seed of Improovy was planted when I was growing up. And it was developed as I started a painting company in college, actually. So as a sophomore over at DePaul, sticking with Chicago, to pay for books and beer, basically, I started a painting company, started knocking on doors, and was able to actually launch a painting company in 3 states with a couple of co-founders. And that was my first one. And then I started another one in 2017. And I can't help but feel like that seed planted in me as a kid. And then having developed and seen the space firsthand, I now saw that there not only was there a better way, but I found it. From my unique perspective, being in the industry, I'm like, there is a better way. Over the past 15 years, I finally found the key. And I think we're getting lucky a lot of times of people ask, why now? I think there's a lot of positive factors, a lot of changes that people don't see in the industry that, from my perspective, I was able to see that homeowners are now, expecting a digital instant experience. They're more comfortable with quotes. Back in 2013, 40% of customers were like, okay, yeah, I could do a remote quote. You don't have to see my house. Now it's less than 4% of customers even have an issue with that, right? And then that combined with, Zillow sites. You could look up any property and do a virtual tour. So it was kind of a perfect storm for us where, I saw that growing up. I'm going to fix this. This is the industry I know, and we're going to absolutely crush it. And that's exactly what we've done so far. Unfortunately, my mom passed away in 2013. And, I made her a promise that, I keep not only her namesake company going, Sophia's Cleaning, which my wife now runs, but, I just imagine a world where if she had to start all over again, being on the Improovy platform would have made her life better as a small business owner. And that's really what it's all about for me. So
there's a lot to unpack there, and starting with the fact of your focus on the contractor side, because there's a lot of cool tech startups starting up, and they're definitely focused on the consumer, and you need to be, I mean, to provide the end service. But you're really, your passion, your story actually comes from helping the contractor side, the small business owner who it's difficult to get jobs, it's difficult to manage it, it's difficult to keep that stream of income high enough so you can actually have a good living as a small business owner. Usually you're just scraping by. So you want to help them with this product as well as help consumers. And it's like this perfect storm. I'm going back though. You were 8 years old when you built your website for your mom. Did she like say, hey, I need a website? Or did you like, Mom, you need a website?
Yeah. It was, I think it was on homestead.com, some old platform created, did my, I think it was Microsoft Paint created the first logo. And then I just saw, I saw a lot of people going on the digital side, and that's exactly what happened. And coincidentally enough, her business increased by 40% the next year. And wow. I didn't really know what that really meant. But when she told me the story years later, I was just like, wow, it was like, it's just a small, incremental change in the digitization of the front end made that much of a difference. And that kind of planted the seed, like I said, that kind of grew throughout my entire life. So
half the battle in some ways for small business owners is to get leads, get interest, let people know you exist. And I feel like starting at 8, you're already realizing, yeah, okay, this internet thing, getting awareness, getting out there. Yeah. I think you even mentioned you realize you are an SEO expert, and like anyone who looks at your websites and Improovy websites is talk about a lesson in location-based SEO. Did that really contribute to your early success in the different painting companies?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a skill I knew I had to solve for that right away. If I was able to solve for that and create an unlimited amount of streams of leads incoming, then we can nail the rest of the part, make sure that the customer is super happy, our subcontractors are super happy. But I focused on that for 10 years. You put 10,000 hours into something and you become an expert. And it's something that, like, I don't know what kind of weird thing that I grew up with. I don't know, it's data analysis or something, but for one thing that I could do better than anybody on earth in my experience is SEO, understanding what people want, what they're searching, taking a small amount of data, taking the inferences and nailing, the entire value prop from start to finish. So that's really what it comes down to. Yeah. I live and breathe SEO. It's like, people have pastimes. That's my weird pastime, and I'm really good at it, and I like doing it. So that's part of the most important sort of first step of optimizing for this industry, because if you can't find your contractors work, well, you're kind of dead in the water there, right? Because they have to keep food on the table. So yeah, that's my secret skill as an entrepreneur. Yep.
So for those that are curious, do you have some top tips, for small business others who want to improve their SEO? I mean, what can you share of this secret sauce that you have?
I think the first question to ask is what are your customers looking for, and really getting to know your customers, right? And that's something that I actually learned the jobs to be done framework, where you do a customer interview and you really understand the push and pull of why they decide to buy and when they do it. And I learned that through Techstars, the cohort we were in, Techstars Chicago, in 2020. So combining, just really truly understanding who your customers are and what they're searching for is half the battle. Everything else, you just look at, stats and data, and you see what people are Googling and you optimize for it. Just make sure that initial value proposition is exactly what they're looking to do. Because if somebody's moving into a new house or moving out of a new house, guess what? What's important to them? Time, availability, speed, making sure that the project doesn't, there's a million things to worry about when you're moving into a house. And, but that's different than somebody who's painting the exterior just to, they see a bunch of wood rot and they know there's going to be water intrusion, there's going to be damage, all of that. And so understanding your customer and why they buy is first and foremost the key to SEO. And number 2 is optimizing your website. It's just technical SEO, blocking and tackling, making sure you have a secure, HTTPS versus HTTP Make sure that you have a really fast host, optimizing for speed, because guess what? If you might have the prettiest website ever, and if it doesn't load in 3 seconds, then you just lost 80% of people or something like that, some ridiculous number, the bounce rate after page speed. But it is fundamentals, blocking and tackling, targeting your audience, and then optimizing on a technical SEO standpoint, making sure that they're able to buy. That's it. And that's the basis of it. There's a million other things that I could sort of go into. You've unlocked one of those things where I could talk about it for 5 days straight and not get sick of it. So, but that's the basis for sure.
I can imagine that, as in every area of a business, it starts with layers. You get the fundamentals down, and then you kind of build from there.
Exactly. I mean, that the same way I approach SEO, that's how we approach the industry, right? So we look at the basis of this industry, the fundamental, the actual foundation of the house that is the home improvement service industry starts with the contractor. And if the contractor's happy, the rest of the house, is going to kind of come together and make sure. But if your foundation is leaky or you have a crack in the foundation, like, you could sell leads to contractors like a lot of sites do, but if you don't solve for them pricing it correctly, making sure that they make money, setting expectations with the customer, ensuring a quality experience on both ends, that's really what it comes down to. So that framework resides in every single part of our business, not only SEO or the business model itself, but in everything we do. You start with the foundation, just like a contractor would when they're building a house, and everything else comes together. It's that much easier when you have a good foundation. So
let's look at that for a second, a little bit more about this. You talk about this framework, because the growth of lead generating sites there's a lot. Simply put, and I think of the top ones. I don't know if they're all different industries, of Angie's List or Thumbtack or whatever, in these different places, and they can generate leads. But your approach is not to just generate leads for the contractors.
We generate a different lifestyle for them. That's what it is, right? The system for contractors in the United States, at least, is set up for them to fail. Within 2 years, the average contractor goes out of business. I mean, the painting contractor, being a painter is not hard. You pick up there's no barriers to entry. It's the same thing of having a car and being able to drive people around. We're just enabling those contractors to have a better life. And that's really the foundation that I'm talking about. So yeah, we not only find them the customer, we have a pricing algorithm that prices it in 20 minutes. You get a quote as a homeowner instantly, versus, I think it's like 5 to 6 days or something like that for the average contractor to go out. You're playing phone tag, and then you have to get 3 quotes. Hopefully they show up. Hopefully they have availability. Typically these days they're booked out for months right now. So by the end of the process, the homeowner's kind of like, what's the point of this? But with Improovy, we get them what they want, make it easy to buy. They book with Improovy. We match them with the perfect contractor. So just imagine a world where you have a guy on call, that perfect guy or gal to fix your space or do your floors, paint your walls, all of that, instantly. So you book with Improovy. We already have that job, the type of house you have, how old the house is, type of industry data that we've accrued over the last 15 years, right? So we know the contractors that are best at, painting trim versus walls, or doing drywall repairs, or doing exteriors versus interiors. And we track the equipment and their job performance to create an instant match to have the perfect contractor for every single way to upgrade your space eventually. But right now we're focused on painting because, well, the before and afters are beautiful. It's a great industry to be in. And, I don't know how many people Google painters every single month. I think it's towards the million mark or something it's something ridiculous when you add up all the keywords that people are looking for. So it's substantial for us. And then we make sure that the contractor gets paid. The average contractor worries about getting paid. We make sure that once the job is done, they get paid right away. And they know their sort of balance sheet. They're tracking all of their supplies. We're making sure that they're profitable and they're able to grow their business. 0% of our contractors have gone out of business. Their average, their take-home pay from year to year increases by 50%. So it is a lifestyle type thing. And that's what we're ensuring on the contractor side. So we take that entire process, streamline it front and back end. Imagine just picking up a brush and focusing on what you do best to paint.
So looking at the tech that you've kind of implemented, one, you have SEO superpower, so you're able to get the leads in the front end, but then you've got the pricing instant quote ability, and then the pricing algorithm, and then the ability to match the matching algorithm. Let's talk about the pricing for a moment. I mean, has there been situations where it wasn't priced properly? I mean, what happens? What the contractor say? Whoa, you just priced this at, I don't know, $200. This should be $5,000. How have you resolved that?
And so that's one of the sides of the business that's hardest is for contractors is setting the right expectations, making sure that you have every single point, every single little layer there in the quote that, hey, if you're adding an extra color, you already know that it's going to cost a little bit more. And the reason it costs a little bit more is because the contractor has to reload their sprayer. If they're doing, a center island in a kitchen and you're doing like a darker color or darker blue or navy with white cabinets versus all white cabinets. And that's a different, just explaining that. But we're not only a pricing engine, we're an expectation engine. And that's something that a lot of people miss in the margins. Is so important to ask the right questions, know when to ask them, and set that expectation with the homeowner so that job goes well. We can tell with a 80%, 86% accuracy if that job is going to go well based on 3 or 4 factors that we find in the interaction with the homeowner. So the homeowner expectations is something that is incredibly important. From a pricing perspective, we want to build out our technology so that it's not only faster but more accurate. Whenever there is a change in price, it hurts the contractor relationship, it hurts the customer relationship, right? Mm-hmm. So that's something that we're actively optimizing for and building the next level of technology, the next version of our technology to be better. So not only being a pricing algorithm, but an expectation engine. An engine for delight is what we call it internally, but that's the meat and potatoes of that. So yeah.
It is a big piece. And I know as a consumer, like I want something right away, and I want to know it's going to be accurate. And as contractors, that does take time to have to quote things. So you're trying to help both people, but you need to make sure it is the accuracy is still the question. Everybody still loves AI and algorithms and make my life simpler, but the trust, we're getting closer. And it sounds like people do trust it now. It's just continuing to hone it. Precisely.
Yeah, I mean, we have this job site data from the decades that I've been in the industry, and really comes down to our team and innovating within the industry. Every single person on our team has run a painting business. Even our engineer has run $1 million painting company, and that's something of a secret sauce that we have. Is that industry expertise? Yeah,
the exactly through and through.
The conversations we have are probably the most boring from the outside looking in when we're talking about like job site data and setting the expectations and trying this way instead of that. But we see that handoff between the homeowner and contractor, that API, that missing API, that connects homeowners and manages the contractor side. That's where our sweet spot comes in. We're that missing API that makes sure everybody's happy in the end. So yeah.
Now, coming from being a service provider, running your own painting company for years, 15 years, I think you said, now becoming a technology company, that transition, I mean, what was it? A simple, like, oh yeah, that this makes sense, I'm still serving people just in a new way, or was it quite a big shift for you?
I think it's a big shift for anybody making that transition, right? It's like it's instead of not only growing but optimize. Like it's almost like you're building a Ferrari while going 100 miles an hour, right? You're literally putting in the doors, all of that while your foot is on the pedal, ready to go. So that was a transition that was a little bit different for me to get used to. Certainly, financial reporting, all of that, that's something that it's completely different for a tech company and projections and all that. So yeah, that Ferrari, my foot gets weary at times going 100 miles an hour, but it's a change of we're not in this business to necessarily make money or make a ton of money. Like, that's the business owner, be profitable, stay profitable, have a company. That we want to change an industry. And that's where all of our recruiting, everything that we do, every single step or every interaction we have starts with, hey, we want to make the lives of contractors better. We believe there's a better way because of our industry experience and just being at the right place at the right time. Now is the time to do it. And we're doing it with the best team ever. So it's a different change. Recruiting is a lot easier. I could tell you that. Than being a painter and finding incredible people to work with. And that's something, if we're talking about a secret sauce, it's our team. Everything from our COO, Carr, who is actually an associate with the Techstars class. He hopped on board. He makes everybody around him 10 times better. It's incredible. And our salespeople, our project managers, it's just everybody coming together and understanding this isn't a 1 or 2 year thing. This is a industry changing, decades worth, legacy leaving type company, as opposed to, just putting food on the table, or paying your bills. So completely different shift. I'm still getting used to it, but it is hell of a lot more fun. I can tell you that. This is exactly what I'm here to do on this earth. And that's, I get, updates from like Google Photos of like, 5 years ago, this is what you did this day. And I'm like on a job site applying test patches. And I'm like, I got to remember that I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do, and hopefully making my mom proud. So
how big is the team today?
We just hired a new production coordinator. So we're at 7.
Being able to keep the train going faster and faster with the team is, I mean, you're familiar with running large teams, but on the tech side, I imagine, as we were just talking about, it's a little bit different. Just you're actually touching a lot more people. Yeah.
Precisely. Yeah. I think it's 7, 8. I mean, we're hiring for future growth, where a normal company would hire when they need we're hiring in anticipation of a 3x year again, because we tripled our revenue from 2020 to 2021. We want to keep doing that, expand into 5 different markets. And it's hiring now for the rush that's going to happen in March and April in this industry, because there's a little bit of seasonality, and is just a different perspective. But like I said, our team make sure that I stay on track. I mean, that's when you put great people around you and put A players, and it's just incredible how fast you can go with that Ferrari. So
building an API, a marketplace, and connecting these two different sides. I mean, that is a specific type of business and technology. The challenges for getting either side is a little bit different, I imagine. Like consumers is one way. I believe that's probably where your SEO superpowers comes in. Are you using your SEO superpowers for the contractor side as well, or is that the sales side? Like how have you solved that challenge?
I think there's 3 ways we're getting contractors on our platform. Number 1, yes, SEO, and just sort of the traditional metric of, painting jobs near me. Guess what? Craigslist Chicago. We're targeting the things that they're looking for when they need more work. That's number 1. Number 2 is channel partnerships. So we partnered with Sherwin-Williams, one of the biggest painting companies in the world. And now we're taking their data and they're optimizing for, okay, we know this contractor needs work. They stopped spending on their account. Improovy fills that gap. And so we're using our channel partnerships to fill in the gaps into new locations. So we're actually able to source our contractors a list of 30 to 40 qualified, fully vetted, insured, incredible contractors that we know are going to play well within our system and succeed before we even launch a market. And that's number 2 is to the channel partnerships. And number 3 is, well, we're seeing a lot of painters talk about their experience at the paint store. They love talking about that when somebody mentions Improovy. So we have inbound leads coming in that, we have a wait list of 160 now for contractors. We have 30 active contractors. We have every single day or every single week, we see an influx of people wanting to work with Improovy. So that's our job, to keep that going. So
keep that going. Yeah. I imagine at some point you do reach a max of contractors in a certain area where it just doesn't make sense to have any more, assuming they're all performing. Is that how you have it, like a certain set of limits on per industry?
Yeah, what we look at, it's like surge pricing, a lot of it, right? So we use the off season when they're a little bit less busy to find really, really good contractors, so that once the busy season comes up, and this is the seasonality aspect, a lot of people are like, is this hurting your business? Actually, we use it to our advantage. The reason the industry is the way it is because the contractor runs out of work after the busy season. October, November hits, they have to fire all their people. The average contractor has 1.4 workers, including themselves. So 0.4 means seasonality plays a part. So they have to lay off their workforce and start all over, right? And so we find that entry point right there when they need us most, and then we feed them jobs and making sure that they have a profitable year. Loyalty grows and the word spreads, and that's something from a long-term perspective. Our contractor base and our network is really what's going to take us to the next level and create that moat where we're able to take over this fragmented industry. There's 260,000 I think 260 different painting contractors in the U.S. and we're taking all the single operators. The single operators are 86% of those. We're taking them and making sure that they have a better life, and they're thanking us by staying loyal and finding other people for us. So yeah.
Do the bigger painting companies, they have something to worry about now in you?
Maybe. There's not a ton of them, right? So it's a highly fragmented market. What does that mean? There's a lot of players. There's not a single company that's taken over 5% of market share, and they operate in the franchise model, which is a little bit different than our model, right? We're a fully remote model where we have virtual offices and locations, and we're able to do this completely remotely without having to go to the house until we break out the paint, which our contractors take care of and do a great job. So yeah, I think we're fortunate to be an industry that's just kind of operated in the old way, stuck in the old way. Bad NPS, giant $39 billion industry that nobody has solved anything for other than selling leads to contractors, which I've bought leads from these sites. I was pissed after they overcharged me because I launched 2 different locations in my other company and they kept charging and charging. Customer service, all that stuff. It's like dealing with Comcast, but your business is on the line,
Yeah. See, there's a lot of different things that you kind of mentioned very early on in our interview of that's just coming together. One, consumers, COVID, other reasons, are more ready to just buy things online without seeing it. Just give me a quote, and their comfort level is there, and the comfort level with technology to assume whatever you're presenting me is accurate and I can trust it. And then from the supply side of contractors, the gig economy, there's a lot of buzzwords one could use, is growing. It's hard for them to make a job or to make a living. And so I find it interesting that you're connecting these two pieces. But the biggest thing is I feel like they want good work. I mean, there's a lot of solutions out there to show you anybody or anyone. We don't need more options. We need just the right option. That's what I feel like as a consumer. I don't care about, I want lots of options. I just want the one I want, the right one right now.
Exactly. That's it. And that's something that hasn't existed in this industry. And that you look at the entire home services industry or home improvement industry at 500 billion, there's a reason people DIY. It's because it's harder to find a good contractor than it is to do it yourself. What if it wasn't? And that's where Improovy comes in.
Are you guys going to look into app-based mentality? Is it completely web-based right now?
Yeah, it's completely web-based. For us, we want to take all the data on a higher level and do this, where we're able to, once we expand geographically, we're able to not only hit the consumers who need us when they need us, but also, the next iteration is, an application that you pick up your phone, you click on the Improovy app, and you have your walls painted, you have your floors done, you have the price, exactly when and you could start within 48 hours. And that's something that still doesn't exist. It's crazy to me that doesn't exist, but that's me.
I read somewhere a story about how Uber got started. Was the name's not coming to me at the moment, but was sitting on waiting for taxis at an airport, and was like, why can't I know what taxis are available right now? Like, I want to know what's available and just be able to book it. And that's how it started. And I feel like you're in a similar boat here. Like, why can't consumers just say, I want a painter right now in my spot. I want to know what it costs. I want to book them. I don't care who they are. I just want to know they'll do a good job and I want to get them. And I feel like you're in a similar spot.
That's the frustration of finding a contractor. Is you're right on. Exactly. And being from the industry, I've seen it on both ends. Just like, why doesn't this exist? It needs to exist. and so we made it happen. And that's, we're going to get bigger and better from there and layer on new services. But we look at, okay, we're going to nail painting. We're going to absolutely crush this industry in the best way possible, and then expand to every way to upgrade your space, because we've already built that trust. We've already painted your house, so that when you're ready to, do your roof, siding, gutters, floors, all of that, the first thing
of Improovy.
Exactly.
You want to own the space. Now, and I can imagine with this type of API, there's probably potential for integrating with other third parties that already have the consumers, and then you can dig into it. Have you started to explore any of that yet or not?
I mean, there's a lot of opportunities in partnering with other startups that are in the design space that I just really love working with, and that I've used in the past. And that's something that we're actively exploring. And then at scale, we also see partnering with, major brands that need, a T-Mobile store that has 1,300 locations, or I don't know what I think they changed their name, but has 1,300 locations all across the Midwest. There's no painter that has, a location in Milwaukee, in Chicago. So once we have that geographic expansion, we'll be able to unlock that commercial opportunity where we're not competing with anybody else. It's just us, and we've optimized, and we're able to keep these contractors busier than ever. They repay us by they keep doing great work, and yeah, so that's part of it too. You're that crystal ball. You're seeing the same thing I am. So absolutely.
Now, I'm curious for this rollout. What does it look like? Because I know you're just in a couple markets right now. How many markets?
Yeah, so we're in Chicago, and then St. Louis is part of our Chicago market. And then we started expanding in the Midwest. We did a soft launch in Arizona as well, because what we want to start doing is layer, the seasonality exists. So we want to layer on Sunbelt states. So Texas, Austin, Dallas, all of that, so that we're able to taper off that seasonality from a business model perspective. And then, our home base of the Midwest, we want to take over the entire Midwest, of course. So we're looking towards Milwaukee. We're looking towards, we've already pre-launched Ann Arbor. I think we're ranking #1 for Ann Arbor painters right now. So we, that's kind of the first step. And yeah, that's how we're thinking of it. So Midwest expansion,
the whole state at a time, or city by city?
Major metros. So in Ann Arbor, we chose, in the Detroit area, we started with Ann Arbor specifically because, well, there's a lot of move in, move outs. There's the home values are within, hey, you're going to pay $4,000 for a paint job. That's a substantial job, right? Yeah. We understand that, your ROI is through the roof when you get your house painted. But nonetheless, it's, a lot of people have a lot of equity in their homes in certain areas. And then we look for kind of a millennial demographic. This new generation of homeowners are looking for speed, really appreciate availability, and want to trust that it's going to be done well without them having to, cost an arm and a leg to find a contractor. So that's what we start targeting, those major metros. Suburbs out, like we have a Naperville location, we have a Chicago location, like in the heart of Chicago as well. But we're seeing two different demographics, and we're attacking it from the outside in. So we're going, okay, we're going to find the neighborhoods that we're going to nail this in, absolutely be able to help the most people in the least amount of time, and then expand from there into other Detroit suburbs. So that's how we're looking at expansion. Yep.
How long does it take for you to rank in one of these places that you start to build it up?
Oh, man, it's 3.5 weeks.
That's it?
Yeah.
It just turn it on. You're like, all right, boom. Now we're showing up.
Our new market playbook works. We've done it over and over again. And I see my other companies, they're having monster years, and I haven't touched the website in 2-3 years, so I know it works. And it's crazy to say that, but that's what it's about. So
I know it's kind of coming back to it, but it's like, is SEO not changed that much then? Like when you started doing it for your first company, or has it really changed?
It's a lot like skating to the puck, right? So you build, as a hockey player, you have to skate to the puck to get an opportunity. So you have to every single day is a future proofing plan. So I'm thinking 4 years ahead of, 4 years ahead of time. What's the Google algorithm? Where is it heading? How are they going to integrate, kind of solve for helping people find the right information at the right time? And so thinking through that, future proofing it is part of that SEO secret sauce, right? It's not only about being really good at keywords or word stuffing or anything like that. It's thinking 3 years ahead of time. What is this going to look like, and how can I start optimizing for it now? And that's exactly how we built this company. So
for other service providers in a lot of industries, or even content creators, can you share what you think is 3 to 4 years out from now? Like what are you preparing for right now, if you're willing to share?
Well, I mean, I think it's I'd love to say voice search and all these other buzzwords that people kind of throw around, but I think where it's heading is, well, the better user experience you have, the better you're able to solve for that specific issue and generate a delightful experience. You're going to get rewarded for that. So it's more than just bounce rates or how many click-throughs you get, or if they hop back on to the front page and go to competitors or whatever. It's more than that. It's not only optimizing site speed and all the basics of quickly loading site with a good CTA that's optimized for your target audience. Great, that's awesome. But not only that, but you have to take them through the entire experience. And so now Google we're outranking sites like Angie's List or Yelp and all those. We still use those platforms to source clients. Don't get me wrong. However, when you're more equipped and you're better at solving the final problem of somebody looking for a painter, Google's going to reward you. And so that's 3 years looking ahead, is not only optimizing on the front end, but the entire process. That's how you win in the future, right? So
that's fascinating. It's like you're not even paying attention to like what are they doing right now of specific crawling robots and looking at here. It's like where they're trying to go of user experience. Like, well, let's just be there. Let's just have the best user experience.
That's it. And when it comes to upgrading your home or painting your house, the user experience comes down to paint, everything from paint colors and making sure that we're able to give them the right selection at the right time, connect them. We have every single job includes a free virtual paint color consultation from a Sherwin-Williams designer. These are the small things that go a long way for somebody who's trying to pick a color for their living room or their bathroom that they want it to be a Zen spa-like type thing. We have to take that information, make sure that experience is easy, and the other 100 different touch points that ensures that delightful experience. We're rewarded on the back end with a 5-star review, but more so, people now trust Google, and then they'll hop back onto Google for their next project, and so on and so forth. And eventually they'll just hop on Improovy. But nonetheless, we're going to take the path of least resistance right now, and Google's got a good thing going. So
are you buying like pay-per-click and you said Angie's List and other places in addition to SEO? Are you layering on top?
So 84% of our customers came from organic SEO. So we did, I think, 1.28 million this year in GMV, and 85% of our customers came from organic. As we expand, we see PPC and partnering with sites like Angie's List, or Angie now, I guess is the name. All of that, and channel partners like Sherwin-Williams as well, to start sourcing great leads faster, so that we're able to launch that market faster and sort of layer that on. So we're actually planning a fundraise this quarter, and one of the major spend, is to optimize, or is to develop that, sort of engine, that PPC engine, and take advantage of not only being number one on search results for organic and on the local 3-pack, which is like the map pack that, your local companies that show up, but being number one on search. I mean, we're going to be able to take 60% of people Googling then, so that's the next step.
I feel like I listened to an interview, founder of Kayak, and I think they just poured into pay-per-click, and they were just like losing money. But the idea is that, okay, as long as we can see that slowly they just start typing in kayak.com, not coming across the ads. And they did, they actually got to it that in the end, but I don't think they focused on any SEO. So it's like your combined focus of layering on top to be able to get that growth. And eventually they'll just not think Improovy instead of Google it.
That's what we're seeing on a very micro level now, but that's that crystal ball. We're sharing the same vision. So absolutely.
Now, are you doing anything on the operations side as well, like helping with logistics and that coordination? So after the sales happened and you found the contractor and say, all right, here you go. Are you doing anything after that point, helping with the project?
Yeah, absolutely. So paying colors, the first day of the project is like that critical part of the first, them showing up on time. We're tracking, how far they are from the location, and we're setting that expectation with the client, making sure that they're happy, not only on, when we book the job through through the quote, but making sure that they're happy day 1 through day 3, day 4, day 5. So there's constant check-ins, and then there's a closeout process where we make sure that everyone's happy before we finish up. So yeah, no, it's the entire experience. It's the full service type stack. Exactly.
From the consumer. And then from the contractor side, do they see like their upcoming gigs, and do they manage it through the software as well?
And so that's the next step of that's another reason we're fundraising, is to maximize that contractor experience. Because not only if they're making money, but they know they're making money, or making more money on the app. That's just as important. So that's one of the other parts that we're focusing on building out. We have an incredible full stack engineer who's already thought through the process and thought through how that's going to look. And we're going to start testing out exactly how to even make the contractor's life even that much better, so that they're able to grow their business, not only thrive, but grow. And that's the next step, where they're able to track everything. And we know those little points where to ensure that not only that their crews are healthy and the customer's happy, but their business is healthy at the end. They know what they're up against the next month, So I think that's a huge opportunity. If we can nail that, we can nail this industry.
I see you're an interesting combination of a powerful story from where you came from, your mission of kind of empowering and helping contractors, that small business owner, but that also the tech smarts with SEO, and realizing this culmination, this coming together of the perfect storm of consumers and contractors all in the right place. It's like, I feel like the beginnings of very exciting things. I'm curious, let's end on this. If you could make a tech prediction of the home improvement space 5 years from now, what's it going to look like?
It's a great question. In 5 years, I believe that Improovy is going to be the backbone of this industry. I believe that every single time you need a contractor or a way to upgrade your space, I believe that we're going to remove the DIY factor, right? That's not an option if we make it that easy. But I believe that there's going to be a one-stop solution for every single way to upgrade your space. That's where it's heading. And we're lucky enough to have the right perspective to skate to the puck, so to speak, right? And so that's, if we don't do it, somebody will. We're ahead of the game, but when it comes down to it, like it's up to us to take this opportunity, but without losing the focus on the contractor. That's the thing. What's going to kill us is if we drop the ball in making their lives better. And that foundation of the house, like you could build a pretty roof, you could put in the most expensive windows ever, but if that thing is at the foundation, it's cracking and it's ready to fall apart, you're not going to build. It's not going to it's not going to look pretty for very long. So that's how we look at it. Somebody's going to do it. We're in the best position, from our perspective that we could do it. But that's what consumers want,
Yeah.
I mean, if you can order a pair of slacks and get it within, 48 hours or 24 hours, why can't you just transform your space within 48 hours, So that's where I think it's heading. So, and that's hopefully we'll be able to not only nail it, but be the one-stop solution for all of that. So
I feel like there's big companies out there with Amazon, they have the reach, they have the viewership, and they've dabbled in home consumer solutions of having someone come out and install your TV or other things. But what they don't have is the focus on the supplier side. And there's tons of stories around that. They don't really care about who they're paying as far as book providers or whatever. It's the consumer that matters. But if you want a good job, you have to have a good contractor. So I'm curious though, if could a big company come in and just say, we'll just dominate it, but can you have the supply side and the strong commitment? So I think you definitely have a one up on that one.
That's the moat that we know long term. If when we nail the supply side across the nation, that we are an option for a better life for them. That's when we succeed, and that's when nobody else can come in, and it's game over after that. That's how we look at it. So that's why we're so focused on it. And listen, like if my mom was alive today, her life would be better with Improovy, and that's all I could ask for. So we're just going to keep nailing that until we get big enough to get to a point where we're able to help more contractors and homeowners. So.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing the journey that you've been on and an exciting future. For those that want to learn more, you can go over to improovy.com. That's 2 O's, Improovy. And
you know where the name comes from, Alex?
Where does it come from?
Groovy and home improvement together. So it's home improvement made groovy. The most underused word ever. I love that word. We just combined it. Thank God that we could find the URL.
Find the URL. Did you have to pay a lot for it?
No.
Oh, that's
No.
Awesome. Groovy home improvement, Improovy. It works. Man, solid spin on that. Thanks again for joining us, Andre. It's great to have you on, man.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks so much.
And we'll see you on the next episode of UpTech Report. Be sure to subscribe and like to be able to get our next episode. We'll see you. Have you seen a company using AI, machine learning, or other technology to transform the way we live, work, and do business? Go to uptechreport.com and let us know.